Hey family, I want to tell you about a new book written by John Almo and Patty Almo. It's called Introduction to Twi for American Diasporas. Now, the book is going to focus on helping you learn the Akan language, culture, and Ghana as a country. It's also a guide through Ghana's most widely spoken language. Now, the book is supposed to help develop your awareness of social customs, cultural practices, by combining historical, cultural, and social context with language training and grammar. This is the book that you want to pick up before you start heading for your first trip to Ghana. Pick up Introduction to Twi for American Diasporas today. You know, in order for white supremacy to work, you have to have black participation. If black people actually was on code with themselves and they would say, we're not going to participate in the sabotage, the undermining of the black community, we all going to be on code with this, we wouldn't have the problems that you see today. Understand? When it comes to our black politicians, the majority of them are Democrat. The majority of them are. You only have a few that isn't, right? And the majority of black folks vote for the Democrat Party. And for people who just real slow to think and slow to understand, you know, when I bring these topics up, oh, he must be a Republican. No, Mr. Slow Thinker, no. When I talk about the Republican, when I talk about the other side, oh, you must be a Democrat. You know, no, Mr. Slow Thinker, I'm not. The fact is, you don't want to hear the religion of Democrat talked about, because I told you guys before, white Jesus and Democrat is a religion for black folk. Understand that. Black American folk, they are so brainwashed in this country, no matter what they do. But when you look at the black politician in this country, they're not participating in the betterment of black people in our community. They're not for black empowerment, or some people may say the term now black first. They're not in that. They are what you would call Democrat first. Completely, that's what they think. So whatever the Democrat Party says, that's their marching orders. Understand? I had done an interview earlier, today. And I had asked a question in this interview to, the person I was interviewing. What has the Biden administration done specifically for black people? Immediately, the response was, well, the America First plan, it had money to black farmers. And I said, yes, that's good. I said, but we're talking about the masses of black people. Saying, do you know that black farmers in America are actually under 100,000 now, when they had more than 1 million plus at the turn of the in the turn of 1900s? So did you know that? You know what I'm saying? What about the 40 plus million black people? What has he done for them? He hasn't done anything. They try to do everything they can to defend Democrat, but they don't care about black people. Let me tell you something. On top of that, defending Democrat and being Democrat first, you're on intersectionality. You're on, you believe that this COVID-19 hate crimes bill, that is an Asian protection bill, that's a victory for intersectionality. And what about black people? I mean, do you understand that bill? Because Joe Biden's going to sign it. Do you understand that the bald eagle in this country, the national bird, is a federally protected bird? And if you do something to that bird, you're getting federal charges. Do you realize that that bill that Joe Biden's going to sign, that he didn't do nothing for black people? You were dancing in the streets. You were celebrating and everything and saying, give him a chance. Once he signs this bill, because it passed the Senate overwhelmingly, it passed the Senate. Democrats and Republicans don't get along for nothing, but they both in lockstep with that. The House, same thing. Democrats and Republicans overwhelmingly agree about this. Do you realize at that point, the Asian American community will be at a protected class, no different than the national bird, the bald eagle. Do you realize that? Now, did the Asian community have an equivalent to George Floyd? Why they need some protection? What's the Asian version of Sandra Bland? What's the Asian version of Philando Castile? You know, where's the history of, you know, Asian people having their churches bombed and them being lynched by the Ku Klux Klan? You know, where's that history of that happening on a constant? Not some that did happen, but on a constant, even in recent history. Where's those equivalents? Where's the Asian version of Breonna Taylor? Where are they? We don't see that. A group that had recorded the lowest hate crime group, actually, by FBI statistics. Black Americans ranked the highest with anti-black hate crimes, but yet we don't get a bill. But when you're Democrat first, they get that bill without putting in the work that you put in to get it. You understand? Your black politicians were so Democrat first, they signed on that bill too. You understand? It wasn't they say, wait a minute, I'm not going to vote for it for the simple fact that my community has been suffering for hundreds and hundreds of years, and we giving them a bill and we don't get a bill, or we are not attached to the bill. Now, if they'd have said, okay, black community, Asian community, okay, I wouldn't say nothing. We both protected now. But no, your Congressional Black Caucus voted for that bill. But when it comes to you, it's a study for you. Joe Biden, what happened with him? He immediately going to give them money through the Health and Human Services, $50 million. No study, no commission, no hearings, no nothing. But everything with you as black folk, it has to be a hearing. It has to be a study. It has to be everything else. They can't pass a thing for you. Listen, Rand Paul did a filibuster on the anti-lynching bill. Why would you do a filibuster on that? But he didn't show up to vote at all when it came to this Asian protection bill. Have you noticed that? But our politicians created this whole thing. I'm not mad at the Asian community for anything because they are Asian first, and they should be. Two of their politicians presented this bill. And of course, with the media in lockstep, of course, now I want y'all to pay attention to something. The media, and why media is more important than what y'all ever think. Media is propaganda. The media was used right after the election of Biden to lockstep and demonize black people, lie on black people, say, oh, look, all these black people attacking Asians. And they beat that war drum, beat it until this bill comes, right? So now they present the bill. Okay, they got the whole country galvanized. Oh, yeah, something needs to happen about this. The media done their job, right? They present a bill, record time, it gets through Congress. Nothing gets through Congress that quick. And now you about to see Joe Biden signs this. Same thing what happened in the 1994 crime bill. Understand? Black people are super predators. Black people are crack epidemic. Black people, the media did all that first. Then Joe Biden and his ilk did that crime bill and Bill Clinton signed that. It's always a media propaganda first. Then they get the bill going and they sign that. That media is your enemy. It is not on your side. Now, the one thing I did agree with Trump on, I have to agree with Trump on this one. When he said the media is the enemy of the people, yes, it's definitely the enemy of black people. I can't speak on other groups, but I sure can speak on black people. It has been an enemy from the time it's been here against black people. I want you to pay attention to that. When it went to the Iraq war, right? Every day, weapons of mass destruction, Saddam Hussein doing this to his people, all this stuff they were saying, it were lies. They completely lied on Saddam Hussein. And they went in there and started that war. And then they decimated Iraq, stealing gold, stealing all the things you saw them stealing. If you look at that footage, money, gold, the U.S. military is just not doing what they normally do, go loot. I'm talking about in history, how they loot other things. Why is American soldiers looting? That's looting, right? Didn't find no weapons of mass destruction, but every day this media said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Those of you who remember that. You understand? That media is a prelude to what they really gonna do politically. So you go back to these black politicians who are this strong, they're not for black people. They for Democrat Party. The Democrat Party said we're not getting rid of qualified immunity. You can just see on their actions. We're not paying reparations. Matter of fact, the black politicians is the one that killed that conversation. Understand? Biden say he ain't paying no reparations. He don't agree with that. He said you can study it, but you can't even get a bill to study it. But but Biden knows he don't even have to study that. He can do executive order and send out a whole lot of money. How is it that he want to send $310 billion to Central American countries? $310 billion. Biden just recently approved the arms sale to Israel for $764 million, even though it was going on over there between them and the Palestinians. He's approving that. So Biden could do anything he would like to do. He can do money in the billions without any congressional approval. None. So the conflict is a black politician, from what we see here, can't be really for black empowerment. They're not for it. They're not going to be for it if they're Democrat, right? If they're Republican, they're not for it either. None of the political parties in America is for the black community. Nary one of them. The Democrats or Republicans. They're not going to help black America. They're not going to fix our issues and problems. They're not going to do anything. But the reason why I focus more on the Democrats is because black folks vote almost 90% for Democrats. In the last election, y'all voted almost 90%. And what did you get out of it? Out of these black politicians, what did you get out of it? Your black politicians make sure other people are protected over you. They're not for the black community. They're not black first. They're not. They're for Democrat. And Democrat means maintaining white supremacy. Republican means maintaining white supremacy. Your black politicians get their little checks, get their little access, and they come to y'all and they make y'all think, see, look, I represent the community. Look at what happened with Kamala. Boy, you got a lot of the Democrat shields. Oh, they hot with that because now they're having to eat crow because we told everybody how Kamala really got down. We told them. Now, a lot of black Americans are very, very upset, and rightfully so. And I guarantee you that a lot of black Americans, what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, this is what you want to pull. This is how you treat us. This is what you do. Okay, no problem. Well, let these other groups vote for you. Let these other groups go ahead and say, we're not going to waste our time. We're not going to fool with you no more. Don't come tell us about no racism. We don't care. We're getting killed when you're in there. We're getting killed when you're not in there. Nothing's improving since you've been in there. You ain't passed a thing to deal with the police. You ain't stopping. You're not stopping it whatsoever. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, like, what are you doing? You haven't done anything. Why should we waste our time? Well, if you get this person in there and that person in there, we've tried it all. We even had a black president and y'all didn't do anything. Let's call it what it is. We even had a black president in 8 years, nothing happened. And you got his vice president and nothing is happening now. Actually, he's being blatant with his anti-black behavior. So black people, we need to think about ourselves. We don't need to be a part of no political parties. We need to be completely independent. As black people, we say, listen, this is a independent party for ourselves. And when I say a party, I'm just saying that we just getting together. It's not about registering a party with their system and doing this and doing that. No. And the moment you start registering a party, you're going to start having all kind of problems. No, if you believe that we should, do things out on our own way or basically by a code, because the party is the code, basically. Living by the code, operating by the code, then we shouldn't even be a part of no party that has no empowerment in for us. I mean, look at the Democrats. They want to make sure everybody else is empowered except the people that's their base. And do you understand that other groups look at us as ignorant? Do you understand other groups look at us as like very, very, just, I got to say it, dumb? Like nobody goes out there and vote like you in the mass numbers, for one particular party. Nobody's out there protesting like you. Nobody's doing that, but yet everybody's benefiting off of you. Do you realize that's what slaves do? Slaves work to benefit others. They don't work to benefit themselves. And you have some of you that's proud to be a slave, and that's fine. If you want to be a slave for the rest of your life, go ahead. Continue to be Democrat first and being excited when everybody else gets something, and you get nothing. But those of us who are smart, those of us who get it, say, okay, you got these midterms coming up. Let the other community vote for you. Go ahead. Since you want to give them everything, you do that. And then when 2024 come, let the other community vote for you. Go ahead. We're going to focus on other things like building up our community. We're going to focus on, focusing on schools, doing the things that we need to do, building up businesses. And we're going to focus on getting our passports. We're going to focus on trying to get land elsewhere, make connections elsewhere. We're going to focus on things like that because we don't have that kind of time. If y'all so invested into this political system that proves to you that says every day, F you, that political system every day says that. And then you have, the bad part is, it's not that the system says that to you. You have willing participants in black society that's willing to line up to screw you over for a check or for an MSNBC job or for a CNN commentating job. They're willing to screw you for that. Other groups, what I don't see with them is the selling out in mass numbers. I'm not saying they don't have sellouts, but in mass numbers. Because when it came to the Stop Asian Hate, where was the Asian version of Candace Owens? What was it? Nowhere around, right? Where was the Asian version of Jesse Lee Peterson? Didn't exist. Where was the Asian version of Larry Elder? Where was he? Didn't exist, right? They know how to stay on code, but black folks, you still trying to be a good little slave on Master's plantation. And you want to please Master at every step of the way. And this is why black America is in the condition that it's in. And all those politicians that you see up there in Congress, the Senate, local elections, they're on the plantation too, because they cannot do nothing to help you specifically. And they have to support specific laws and statutes for other groups. So when they're Democrat first at this point, you have to look at that as treasonous. You have to look at that as traitorous at this point. Because what they're trying to put black people at is a permanent underclass that everybody steps on to get ahead. That's about where you're at right now as a community. And your politicians, we're talking about the black ones, your politicians is making sure to help that happen. Didn't Jim Crow Clyburn say that he was cool with a bill not having qualified immunity? He don't care about you getting killed by any race soldier. He's fine. He lived his life. He's good. He gets his little checks from his little access. He don't care about you and your kids. He don't care. He sat there on national TV and said that if qualified immunity not in the bill, well, it's okay. I don't want to get rid of a bill. We'll take it up later. In other words, you're not going to take it up at all. His buddy Jim Crow Joe said he didn't want qualified immunity gone. That's why he said that. And y'all keep sending this dude back up there. This is why sometimes I just can't take seriously on a lot of things that we say in the community sometimes, because you say you want freedom, you say you want change, but then when it's time to get rid of all the people selling you out, you literally go send those people back up there. I'm not talking about y'all that watch. Most of y'all that watch, y'all get it. I'm talking about the people in our community that will keep sending those people back up there. And like I said, we have a certain group of people that keep doing that in our community, unfortunately. And it's sad, it's sickening. They are embarrassing and an embarrassment. But understand something, any of them that at this point in the game that consider themselves Democrat first and not for black people or black empowerment or black first, they're traitors. They're sellouts. They're completely oblivious. They don't care if we are hurt or harmed. And that's how we got to take that. We can't take that as just calling them names. Sometimes you call them names and Sambo. No, it's not about that. It's that they don't care if you or me are killed. They don't care if you or me have any way to feed our families. They don't care as long as they get their checks and their access. We got to be extremely hostile to these people who are Democrat first in our community and don't care nothing about the black community. If you're not going to do nothing about the black community, then move out the way. Get out those positions. Let people come in that's going to do that. That's going to have a referendum in that Democrat party. You understand? Because if y'all want to be a part of that party, at least make a change in it. But y'all don't even want to do that because you're willing to sell out. Even look at the dude that's running the Democrat Party right now. He got safe Negro all on his face. Oh my God. Just that Jamie Harrison. My God. You know, it's like if that's the quintessential safe Negro, understand? Safe. I'm not gonna buck the system at all. You know, they love them kind of black folks to be in charge. Notice something, they would never have a black person that talk like me in charge of anything because they know good and well what's gonna happen when that come about. Because let me tell you something, if I had any position like that, I would set it on fire because I'm saying, listen, either y'all do what you're supposed to do, or I'm about to just go it on and just say, hey, let's end the whole thing here. Why do you have a Congressional Black Caucus for? Why? Because it seems like it's a Congressional everybody else caucus and not black. And maybe it should be called that, a Congressional, Black Democrat Caucus that's Democrat first. You know what I'm saying? Something to that effect. And, people in the Congressional Black Caucus follow my page, and I know some of you see, and I'm serious on this. What are y'all doing? Seriously. Y'all haven't presented one thing to protect black people. Why isn't the Congressional Black Caucus members presenting a hate crime bill specifically for black people when you got the data to back that up? How is it that you're willing to vote for an Asian bill and not even have a bill presented for black people? How? Why aren't you screaming about the George Floyd Policing Act and making sure it has teeth in it to punish these race soldiers? Why? Because you're Democrat first. That's what it is. And it's killing us. And that blood that black people are dying is on your hands too. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this commentary here. I had to talk about this because we really have to look at this. Any of those Democrat shills and any of those people who are so much about the Democrat Party, we have to look at them as those participating in harming us now. We got to. Because if we don't look at it that way, they're not going to change. The community is not going to change them. This is not a joke anymore. As I stated before, once Joe Biden signs that bill, the Asian American community going to be just as protected as the bald eagle. Think about that for a minute. They will have a special liaison in the DOJ to deal with any issues specifically for them. That's part of that bill. We've been getting killed for hundreds of years. We don't have no special liaison in there at all. You can say, what's the Civil Rights Division? Civil Rights Division is for anybody. It's not specifically if it happens for us. Now, we know the reason why the white supremacists are doing that because they need the Asian community for something. Something they got up their sleeve or whatever. So they want to make sure to raise them to a very, very protected status. But, for that happening, a lot of black people are saying, okay, well, you decided to partner with the white supremacists. That's fine. Now you're about to start experiencing the strong economic boycotts. And a lot of you have started that. I would say that would be the better way to send a message. Strong economic boycotts always works because they lied on us to get a bill, and that's not cool.
The economy and job market are picking up quickly. If you're a job seeker looking to advance your career, or if you're an entrepreneur looking to start or expand your business, BrightPathSearch.com has a resource to assist you. For job seekers at any stage, BrightPathSearch.com can perfect your resume and cover letter, help you prepare for your interview, and offer leads for networking. For entrepreneurs, BrightPathSearch.com can help you get access to government contracts or even help you start your business. There's no need to go at it alone. For a free consultation for job seekers or small business services, email j@brightpathsearch.com or visit the website www.brightpathsearch.com.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store.